Hello, welcome along. Today is Sunday. It's Sunday the 9th of May 2021 and this is our 4pm movement snack, so a third opportunity to add those minutes into our day. This is our sway and stretch. Now, catching up, this could be the one that you want, and if it is, stay. You might want to skip through this little preamble if you want to, but you can stay and listen to it as well. It's it's part of the snack at the end of the day, isn't it? Or you can, as I say, just skip straight through to the snack and start there. If it's not the one you want, then please do go and find the one that you are looking for. They're all on our Facebook group, and they're quite easy to find by clicking on that Photos tab at the top. Do the one, carry on catching up till you've caught up. That could be named for a film, actually, couldn't it? Perhaps we should do a film. Perhaps I'll have a word with Bex and Kelsey. Perhaps we should do Carry On Catch Up. Yeah. Oh no, don't. I could be Frankie Howard, couldn't I? Did he do much? Sid James, he was a Carry On star, wasn't he? And Hattie Jakes. Who else was there? Oh, I don't know now. I'm trying to think of some of the names of Carry On stars. Anyway, I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to pop across start saying hello to people as they come on live. So Ken Green, good afternoon to you. Welcome along. Maddie Stranger, good afternoon. You're welcome along as well. And Ian Wright, have a good day to you too. Welcome, welcome one and all. Just floating the possibility there of a Carry On Catch-Up film that we could put together. Perhaps that should be our next Zoom topic. When we have a Zoom together, we should have a Carry On Catch-Up. Who would be Barbara Windsor? Who would be Hattie Jakes? Who would be Sid James? And then I'm starting to run out of names then. Jim Dale? Was that another one of them? Margaret Wood, good afternoon to you. I've gone sleepy doing the crossword. I need waking up. You know, it's quite easy, isn't it? Especially after lunch. You sit down, have a little bit of I'll do this or I'll do that, crossword or a check of emails or watch the news. Before you know it, we've drifted off. So welcome back. Welcome. We'll get you wide awake again. Carol Ken, good afternoon to you. It's been a beautiful day, ready for a finale to our sway. Yeah, it's been a beautiful day here as well. It's just starting to cloud over and go a little bit chilly. It's starting to drop a little bit. But there we go. To give you a good idea, Ian, our next Zoom could be a Carry On Catch Up. We could write our own Carry On film, couldn't we? With double entendres and your innuendos. Oh, Mrs. No, don't. Right, so we've got to Jim Dale. Who else was there? Oh, I'm trying to think. Hawtrey? Charles Hawtrey? Is that right? Was there a Charles Hawtrey in there? I can't think of... Oh, what was his name? He played the doctor in Carry On Matron. He played like the professor in Carry On Nurse and the like. Posh voice. Oh, good grief. Someone help me out here. Gillian Matthews, good afternoon to you. It wasn't Gillian Matthews, but Gillian Matthews, good afternoon to you. Welcome along. Welcome on board, everyone. I can't think of his name. It will come to me as soon as I've finished. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I'm sure someone will remind me at some point what the guy's name was. I can't for the life of me think of it now. It's driving me mad. I shall have to do a Google of Carry On film stars afterwards. Let's have a look. Vivian Dixon, good afternoon. Least favourite job this afternoon, weeding the drive. Back is aching a bit, ready to do this snack. Yeah, that's one of the jobs I don't particularly like, actually. Weeding the pavements and weeding the in between the slabs in the garden. We had the original patio done at the top of the garden, and the pathway that leads down the garden, we had beveled edges on them, which looked lovely, but then you get the weeds grow through them, don't you? And they sort of grow in. So that's one of my least jobs, favourite jobs. Whereas we had, when we had the bottom patio done, we had unbeveled edges, butted together, not a weed in sight. Much, much better. So there we go. There's some gardening tips for you as well. Sue Tilly, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to Diane Edwards. Okay, listen, we are at 4 o'clock, so if you want to lose the comments off the bottom of the screen, remember all you got to do is swipe them to the right and they will be gone. Like that. 2 5 3 2 1. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. You're with Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training. Today is Sunday, the 9th of May 2021, and this is our 4 p.m. movement snack. It's our sway and stretch. So it's that three-dimensional movement that we do in everyday life. We move in more than one dimension all the time, don't we? But we never actually sort of practice it. We just do it. So this is a chance for us to actually practice those movements, get some muscle memory going on, so work on some flexibility within the body. But it's also a chance for us to have a wind down, or if we've had a peaceful afternoon, a little bit of a G up. Should we get ourselves ready to go? All right, come on. Let's bring ourselves in. Now, as always, we can do this in a standing or we can do it in a seated position. Let's make sure, firstly, our area is clear. So space-wise, we've got nothing on the floor that we could trip over. Let me just angle that camera a little bit down more so you can see my feet. So a clear space to work within. Got some fixed external support available. And we've also got a good sturdy chair to use from as well. Sensible footwear on, so that I can feel the engagement that the toes and the feet are making with the floor. So think about the footwear that you have on. Remember, as always, to work at your own level. So if you feel like you need to take it a little bit slower or a little bit of a smaller movement, then do. Whatever your range of movement is, remember, and whatever the speed that you take it at, although our sway tends to be a slower, controlled movement, it's exactly right. Whatever it is, yeah? We're all different, so we all have our own ranges of motion. As always, we've got to have a look at our posture to start off with. So in our standing position, we've got our heels in line with our knees and our knees are in line with our hips. Now we're going to make the knees a little bit softer by just allowing them to bend a little bit, not bending too much. Then we're going to lift and lengthen out from our hips, so grow that a little bit taller, bringing the shoulders up, taking them back, bringing the shoulder blades together, then pressing down. So we've opened this rib cage and we lengthen through our neck. In our seated position, the first thing we're going to do is bring our back off the chair. So from our seated position here, we bring the back off the chair. The trunk is now doing the support work, the chair isn't. From there, it's a lift and a shift as we bring ourselves into the front third. This little hip walk here is something that's really useful to us in our everyday life as well, because it's much easier to come to a standing position from this front part of the chair than it is from the back of the chair. Now again, alignment wise, we've got our knees in line with our hips and our feet are flat on the floor with our heels in line with our knees. It's this lifting and lengthening and growing these extra couple of inches between your ribs and your hips, so gain some extra space there and bring the shoulders up, back and press them down, lengthening through that neck. We start with our circulation boosting as always, and it's about lifting those heels off the floor, bringing the feet off the floor up onto the balls of the feet and the toes, starting to get this movement happening. Now your circulation boosting is about basically what it says on the tin. It's about boosting that circulation, getting the body moving, ready to do whatever it is we're going to do. So if you've been sat down for a while, and certainly first thing in the morning, it's a great idea to have a bit of a circulation boost just to get the body warmed up and revved up a little bit, okay? These movements should be rhythmical, they should be flowing, they're not jerky, and they're controlled as well. Now we make the intensity bigger by making the movements bigger. So here, look, we can bring it into this movement where we're bringing the foot off the floor with a march, allowing our toes to point down towards the floor a little bit. Now, seated wise, this can bring on a little bit of muscle fatigue into our hip flexors. They're already bent, they're already at 90 degrees, so they're already working, and now we're asking them to do a little bit more. So if you start to feel muscle fatigue here, rather than lose technique, I was going to say texture then, lose technique in the top part of the body, so allowing a bit of a sway to happen or allowing yourself to sit back a little bit, change the movement, come back into that heel raise, but make it a little bit bigger as far as the push is concerned. Or how about a tap of the toes in front? In our standing position, then this gives me the ability to show you a little bit more here about how I get the ability to start to point the toes down at the floor. So we get that movement within our ankles happening as well. Now seated or standing, let's add an arm movement in, and we're driving those elbows backwards to drive it through and work into our shoulder as far as mobility is concerned. This again is allowing for bigger movements because now more of the body is moving. Now we control it with that elbow being the driven thing, so it's not a pendulum motion, it's not a swing, it's a controlled, driven movement by having that elbow driving it backwards. If you're using your support and it's in front and you've got enough room for your knees, then change your hand by placing the hand that's moving down before you take the other one off. So we place the hand down and then we take the other one off. If your support is to the side, however, we need to come to a pause. And then we take as many steps as we need to turn into our support, set ourselves up again on the other side, and away we can go on that other side. Seated, standing, if you feel steady, stable and coordinated, then there's no reason why we can't put both arms, both legs together. Now you'll notice that the movement is no faster. It hasn't really gotten any bigger, but I've added another arm in now. So we've got more of the body moving again, and this is what's increasing that intensity. So we made the movement bigger to start off with, and then we made the amount of the body that was moving bigger by adding one arm in, and now we've added two arms in. We should feel that our heart starts to beat a little bit faster. We shouldn't feel it's already pounding, and we shouldn't feel that we're out of breath, but we should feel that we're breathing a little bit harder than we were. Now in total we're looking for around about 2 minutes of this work from start to where we bring it to a pause. But before we bring it to a pause, let's make it a little bit slower, a little bit smaller, and then let's take a pause there. At this point, we should feel as though we want to take a couple of deep breaths. Now, just important to note here that if you feel that you're really having to breathe hard at the end of that, next time, make it a smaller movement. Make it slower if you've gone a bit too fast. But, definitely lower that intensity by probably making it a smaller range of movement, or just leaving one arm moving rather than two, or just the feet moving. Right, we're ready to move into our sway movement then. So we've reached the end of it and we've added everything in that we're going to add in. So we're going to go straight into our movement today, and then we'll see if we can play with it a little bit further. So our base movement, remember, if we're just using our hands, we're coming across, we're bringing it up and taking it out across there. So we've got this movement here, look, this circular movement happening as far as across the body is concerned, and that movement can be as big or as little as you want. Once we've done one circle around the body, we bring it across the body with a little rotation and a tip forward, and then from there we bring the hand out, turning the wrist towards the ceiling or towards the sky, swinging it round to the other side, to come back into our hip, and then from there we can go into the other side with this big circular movement across and around, and that can be shoulder height or head height, around and across the body, turning the palm upwards and allowing ourselves to sweep that hand around and back in. So that was our movement as far as the hands are concerned. And remember, you've got variety there, so you can make it a smaller movement if you want to. Yeah, the length that you go to, the range of the motion you go to is exactly right for you. If we're using our support to the side, then it's one arm at a time, and you might want to do a couple of those movements before you actually change across to the other side. If your support is in front of you, then again you've got the ability to do change hands every time, but what you need to do is allow for that hand to come back down and rest on your support before you go into the other movement on the other side. So always have a hand on. In seated, our sitting bones are where we are looking at, so our bottom is never going to leave this chair totally. We're just going to shift the weight from one side to the other. So the bottom is always in contact, the whole of the bottom. Just the weight is changing from one side to the other when we get to that sway motion. But hand-wise, it's exactly the same. You might find that it gets a bit of a smaller motion here because we're at that bent angle at our hips. So we haven't got the ability to start as low down as we would be. So, but you might find that that is a smaller movement there for you because of that position that you find yourself in. But exactly the same movements and changing hands every time. So We then added the sway into it, and I stepped ahead as far as our seated position was concerned there, didn't I? I went straight into my sway. So the sway motion from side to side. Now, from a standing perspective, base of support wise, our heels are outside of our hips and in line with our shoulders. So as we sway across, look at this knee here, it doesn't go outside of my shoe. And as I sway from side to side as well, if I come sideways on, you can see that the knee doesn't go any further forward than the toes as I shift that weight from side to side. So I'm within my base of support the whole time. So we've got this sway happening from side to side. And then what we try to do is bring the hand movement in to match up with that sway motion. So as we're taking it across, we're turning. And then here's that sweep around to come back into the other side and reset in. That allows us to then bring the hand across and around. Yeah. And then what we did yesterday or the day before was we added a stepping motion in as far as this sweep around was concerned, and a step back in. Now when we step forward, it's heel toe forward, and then it's toe heel back. And the hand, or the way we're going to step forward, is the arm that is moving. So from here, it's this arm that's going to sweep around, and that's the leg that steps forward. So as we come around, it's within our balance of space of support again, stepping back in, toe heel. Now in standing, again we can still do this. We've got this step forward and we've got this step back in, but again we might want to do it on one side rather than the other. Now if you're going to use your support in front of you, it's going to be difficult for you to do that step because your support will be in the way. So you either stay with just your hands or you change your support to the side. In seated, we still have that step happening. So we've still got this wide base of support. We're here and we step forward, and we've got a hinge of the hip to allow us to bring it forward and shift the weight, which is what we do in a standing position. We step back in. And exactly the same the other way, look. Heel toe out, a hinge of that hip to allow us to sweep that hand round, and then stepping back in, toe, heel. Yesterday we added the gaze challenge in as well. And I said to you that you can put that movement of the head in at any part of that. So if you just want to do it on this part, that is fine, follow the hand around. If you want to just do it on this part, then that is fine, you go where you're comfortable. Or if you want to do it the whole way through, so you've got this movement of your head coming around and then down to this side and then coming forward to follow your hand, then go with it. See what you feel comfortable with, all right? So that's where we are. Let's have a go at it on each side. So we're going to shift the weight from side to side. Let's get that movement going firstly, and then let's add our arm movements in. So controlled movements as far as the sway is concerned, and as far as the hands are concerned. So we start to follow this through and around with those movements matching as we take that hand forward and then bring it back in. From here we've got the sway back across the other side, and that brings us in to our other hand going around. It's coming down, back across the body, and then here's that step forward to follow that hand forward with the palm facing upwards. So we've opened it up through the centre. In here we've got that sway happening again. Yeah. And we come across from here, we step forward and take that hand out. We step back in and we take the hand across the other way to follow it all the way around. Controlled movements. We've got this hinge at the hip. We've got the shift of weight from side to side and the step forward and the step back in. That is our sway routine completed for this week. So have a look at it, have a practice of it. Should we do it one more time? We'll do it a couple of times on each side. So let's get ourselves ready. We've got our support available if we need it, and if we're doing it in our supported position, we'll do it 2 times. We're going to do 2 times on each side. So after the second time, I'll take a pause that will be your point to be able to take as many steps as you need to turn to the other side, and then we'll go again. Seated or standing, get yourself ready. Gentle, controlled movements, and let's go. Swaying across, following the hand if you want to. Again, make it work for you. Whatever is right for you, you take from this snack, okay? So this movement you do, whatever feels comfortable to you, bringing it back and then across the other way to follow that hand around again. And remember, as previous, the range of motion that you have is right. So if your hand only comes up to your shoulder height or chest height, that is exactly right. Here's our little pause. If you're in standing with support, change your support to the other side. If you're not using support, keep the sway going, and let's go off again. Taking it around, controlled movements, following the hand, rotating across, stepping forward, taking that hand through and back in. We've got this movement happening on the other side, taking it around, across the body, the step forward as we turn the palm towards the ceiling to sweep it around, and then step back in, toe heel to finish. There we go. That is our sway routine for this week. Right, let's go into our stretches. Let's start with our calf. So in a standing position, we've got our support to the side of us. The leg that is closest to the support, this one here, is going to stay still, and the knee is going to stay soft. The outer leg is going to step backwards, toe down, heel down, so we've got the toes pointing in the same direction. And then we bend the front knee to allow ourselves to lean in. Nothing happens at the waist though. You'll notice I haven't hinged or anything, I've just leant in. Support is in front of you, so that once you're here, your support is in front. So as you come forward, you now have the support level with your shoulder. In seated, we extend the leg away in front. Sitting tall, the toes are pointing upwards and the heel is down, and then we ease the heel away and we bring the toes in towards us, but keep this knee soft. This lifted and lengthened position. Okay, so whether you're in standing or seated, bring yourself into position, either step back or extend that leg in front, bend your front knee if you're in standing, ease your heel away if you're in seated, and feel that lengthening of the muscle down through the back of the leg, through the calf muscle. We hold it for around about the 20 seconds mark, between 12 and 20, and then ease out of it and bring the foot back in. Now in our standing position, turn into your support and change to the other side. In our seated position, set yourself up. Standing, take your foot back, heel down after you put the toes on the floor. In seated, extend the leg away, heel down, toes up. And then in standing, bend your front knee and allow yourself to lean in. Seated, ease the heel away. Bring the toes in towards you, but keep this knee soft. Don't let it lock out. So there's a locked knee, there's a slightly soft knee. And we feel that lengthening again down through the back. Important to remember, feel the stretch, but no pain, no heat, no twinging. If you do feel any of that, then you ease off it a little bit. After your 12 to 20 seconds, whatever is comfortable for you, release out, step back in, and feel the stretch ending. That's really important. We should feel that it stops. Let's go into the back of our thigh. Now for the back of our thigh, we're going to extend the leg away again in seated, but relax the toes down towards the floor this time. We'll have a look in seated first, and I'll show you in standing. I'm sitting tall, and I'm going to change my chair angle slightly, okay? So there I am, look, toes are relaxed down to the floor. I'm sitting tall, but I'm going to lift a little bit taller before I hinge from my hip and support myself on this bent knee. This is where I feel the stretch down through the back of the thigh. I can't feel it in my calf. If I can, relax the toes a little bit. If I'm here, then I'm going to feel it in my calf and here, and I'm going to feel it more in my calf than here. So relax the toes down, yeah? That's seated. Standing, again, have your support in front of you. The leg that is closest to the support stays still again, the other leg steps forward. And as we were in our seated position, we're sitting tall, we're standing tall, but we lift that a little bit taller before we hinge at the hip again. And there's that stretch. So whether you're in standing or seated, set yourself up, bring yourself in, take the leg forward, Lift that little bit taller from your tall position and hinge at your hip and feel that stretch come on. Now what we're going to do is develop the stretch as well so that we work on our flexibility. So after around about the 12 seconds, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, take it a little bit further. In standing, push your bottom away a little bit more. In seated, hinge a little bit further forward, but not too far. And just feel that stretch coming back on again. Once we reach our 20-second mark, we unhinge, we bring the foot back in, and we feel the stretch ending. Now at this point, in standing, take as many steps as you need to turn and set yourself up on the other side. In seated, extend the other leg away in front. So again, we step through, we lift taller, and there's that hinge at the hip to come forward and feel that stretch down through the back of the leg. In standing, if you don't want to use support, then that is fine. Same movement. Look, we've lifted, we've hinged. Hands can just be here, they can be on this back leg or on our hips, but what we don't do is put them onto this front leg. Take the deep breath in, take it a little bit further, either push the bottom away or hinge a little bit further in seated, and feel that stretch come on again. And this is going to help as far as things like reaching down to pull our socks up, tie our shoelaces, pick things off the floor. Ease out of it, unhinge, step back in and feel the stretch ending. At this point you might want to just have a little pedal through with those feet just to release out through those legs. That is our stretches for our legs done. Let's go into our upper body. So we're going to start with our chest. Now here we take the hands behind us and they come into the small of the back. Now we can either have the palms facing inwards or we can take the palms away. It's a matter of what feels comfortable to you as well. But you might find that by taking the palms away you feel a little bit of a more of a stretch because you've got a little bit more rotation as far as your shoulders is concerned. In seated we have the same options, but we also have the option to take the hands onto the back of the chair behind. Now here's what happens as far as the shoulders are concerned. We draw the shoulder blades backwards, but then we lift the chest as well. So we feel this lengthening across the top of the chest. But as we lift that chest, eye line stays level. So we're not leaning back. We're lifting the chest, keeping the eye line level, drawing those shoulder blades towards each other at the back, and we've got that lengthening across the top of the chest. Again, we're going to hold this for around about the 12 to 20 second mark. And then we're going to ease on out. Let's take it into the back, upper back here. So from here, in standing or seated, it's the same movement. Place one hand inside the other. So rather than interlace your fingers, we've placed closed hands, one on top of the other. We take it out in front as if we've got a tree around us that we're hugging, and then we push away a little bit further, and then lower our head if you feel comfortable with it. So exactly the same in our standing position, look. Same position, you've got that big base of support. Pushing away, and if you feel comfortable with it, just lower your head slightly so your gaze is coming underneath your hands and you're looking about 6 foot in front of you. And here what we've got is that stretch across the top of the back and then coming into the neck as well. Again, we just hold this for around about 12 to 20 seconds. Release out, feel that ending there. You might want to have a little bit of a shoulder roll. And just one last stretch. Let's take it into the back of our arm. So place one hand on your shoulder. With the other hand, ease the elbow up to where it feels comfortable and walk your fingers down. So you can see how I walk the fingers down the back of my shoulder, keeping the head level. Now, from here, we're going to extend the arm up if we feel comfortable with it. So we have two options. Have a look firstly. From here, I can extend the arm, bring the other hand down by the side and reach a little bit taller. Or if I don't want to take my hand up, from there, what I'm going to do is bring my hand down to the side, lift a little bit taller, but then lean across slightly. In seated, it's exactly the same. So from here, I can either take the hand up towards the ceiling, bring my hand down to the side of the chair and lift a little bit taller, or from there, hand down, lift a little tiny bit taller and then lean across. And what we're trying to do is get a lengthening down through the side of the body. So this raised arm motion, rather than a lean, it's a bit like, sir, I know the answer, when you try to get yourself seen, yeah? It's that lift that gives us the lengthening. The reason we put the little lean in is because from here we can only get so far. That little lean enables us to get that little bit extra movement within there. And it's only a small lean. And then help your arm down and change to the other side. So again, hand on, ease up by walking the fingers down. Once you're comfortable there, take the hand up to the ceiling, hand down, and reach that a little bit taller. Or leave the arm where it is, hands down, lift a little bit taller, and then lean across. Let's say this just feels that you'll feel the lengthening down through the side of the body here. And that includes the muscles that are between our ribs. They're called our intercostal muscles, and they're forever working day in, day out, as far as the expansion of the rib cage is concerned and the contraction of it as we breathe. So giving them a little bit of a lengthening and helping them is a good thing to do as well. There we go. That is us done. That is our sway and stretch for today and our sway and stretch routine for the week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. I think I'm on 12 noons next week. So I'll be back with you at 12 noon tomorrow. I think Kelsey's on 8 a.m.s and Bex is on 4s, I think. I could be totally wrong. I know I'm on 12s. Right, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Remember, crowbar in some additional activity and keep movement on your radar as you go through the rest of the day. I'll see you tomorrow at noon. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.